All right, let me read this shit to you.
This is old notes.
Old notes.
Been a while.
Through. Yeah, it's been a long time. It's been about 4 months. This is you writing this. Southerners acting like a wife asking for alimony. There used to be a certain lifestyle. What is the North, parentheses husband, going to replace slaves with to maintain their lifestyle?
Yes.
The fuck does that mean? Is that a high thought? Is that like you pilled out on the couch and you go,
Could
you
be
know
anything.
what?
Who knows? But
Voice note that out there.
so what I believe I was getting at, and I poorly communicated it. You know how when a wife sues a guy that she's divorcing for alimony, the thing is, well, I have a certain lifestyle I need to uphold. That's why they get paid all that money. It's not like if there's no child support or whatever. It's like, well, she's used to a certain lifestyle. So I'm saying, how long ago did that rule exist before it was like, you divorce a guy who has slaves? Does the judge appoint a lady slaves to like maintain her lifestyle?
So what you're saying is back then, like, so it's 1830 right now. A man gets divorced.
But does the lady not have rights at that point? Can she not even divorce?
I think that's what it is. I think you're stuck. If the man wants to get divorced, you probably just die. Or you go to one of those mental institutions.
That's how, like, those drugs started up. Was they just needed something to give, like...
She's psychotic.
She's crazy.
Give her something. No.
No, her husband's cheating on her, and she goes and talks to the priest, and it's like, well...
Here's some Ambien.
The priest made sexual advances when I told him about my husband's adultery, so I went to the doctor, and he doped me. He offered me an ice pick in the eye or these pills.
Dude, we watched The Toy, and you haven't watched that yet? I keep forgetting to bring that.
I haven't seen it in forever. I have watched it.
No, there's a part where he's talking to, who's Jackie Gleason? Yeah, that's the main guy. He's talking to his wife, and he has this, like, young trophy wife, and he's talking to her, and, like, she starts annoying to her, or she starts, like, annoying him. And he turns to her and says some shit, which I didn't catch at the time. And he's like, I'm going to send you upstate to that mental institution. And she's like, oh. And then later in the movie, she goes, yeah, I met him upstate because he was visiting his ex-wife at the mental institution. Man, if you're rich enough, you just throw your wife into this fucking home.
I think the richness just goes to like how nice a place she goes to. I think just as the dude, you like decided.
Really?
I'm again like far back, but
yeah,
I think that was the thing.
This movie took place like in probably the 70s, maybe the 80s.
I think that's the tail end of the 70s because that's
when
I think they were still asylums end before that. But I think like the just doping a lady up.
Oh,
it's so funny though, like because now it would be considered like every reason is legit. Like oh my god, like. Girl's been put through the ringer.
Yeah.
And
she's got fibromyalgia.
This bitch, I don't know, apparently like her parents left her or something. I came along, like I married her, and now she has the nerve to turn around and be sad all the time, talking about like, oh, I had a miscarriage. I didn't get to pursue my dreams.
Yeah.
I'm too busy. Like
we don't have slaves anymore.
Yeah, anything that would be considered valid now, they were like, yeah, can you lock this lady up and make sure, like, can you scramble her fucking brain?
Yeah.
Can you shock her
into
hook
not
her
being
to that sad
electric?
anymore? Yeah. What's she got to be sad about? I'm
the fucking best.
I have a great life, and she's there for it.
Yeah, we got a house in the Hamptons. We're fine.
Just fully, like, I mean... That is one of those things where, like, when you hear things about celebrities and you're like, fuck them, they're rich. And it's like, yeah, but, like, you know. It's like the Jim Carrey's always running around being like, oh, you know, money's not what makes you happy. And it's like, yeah, well.
Okay, Jim.
Tell me that prior.
Yo, exactly. That's like all these people when they're like you could do anything you want. You put your mind to it and you just keep going. You don't like your job? Quit your job. Mm-hmm. And it's like, yeah, but what, do you have a fucking bankroll you can sit back on? Like, you could pay your mortgage? Like, I hate my fucking job. I can't quit my job.
Tim Dillon makes that great point about, you know, he's always going off about the baby boomer generation, but he's always saying, like, what a crippling thing it was that all of our parents were like, oh, you can do whatever you want. Like, you can be whatever you want. It's like, yeah, that's good as, like, an inkling, but then you have to, like, provide, like, the roadmap to edit. You can't just be like, yeah, you can drink through high school,
do your thing,
smoke weed through high school, show up to college with no like game plan, no semblance of an idea of like what to do, and just be like, Also, like, you know how in school when you would ask in math class, like, hey, when are we ever going to use this? And they'd be like, well, it's not something that you're specifically going to use, but it is like working on your problem solving and stuff like that. There's nothing in school that's like, or at least like that they make apparent to you. They don't like spell it out the same way they do that. There's nothing that's like work hard on the stuff you don't care about to get to where you do care about. Because my thing in like, if I cared about it, I would look into it. But like biology, fuck off. Chemistry, fuck off. They don't make you understand that like the thing you think you want to do, you're gonna need those other things for. So by the time you get to college and you're like, oh, I didn't realize like
I needed AP math.
Yeah, I didn't realize fucking chem was going to be such a big part of like, I don't know, exercise science or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I can understand it when I'm reading articles and it's like, but the data or whatever is chemistry,
the first chapter,
biology.
The first chapter of all those books should be like real life applications of like, because you take an algebra 2 class and you're like, man, fuck you.
Parabola.
Fuck you.
Fuck off.
I'm not doing this bullshit for what? And then
I haven't seen a piece of graph paper in over a decade.
No. Yeah. I love graph paper.
Your reasoning is good for it. I haven't graphed anything, for a decade.
I agree. New Apple update, they're going to fucking, the notes page? They're going to have it, or I'm sorry, the calculator app is going to have a notes page where you can just write out whatever you want and it'll just auto-calculate as it goes.
I always thought it was weird that it didn't have that you can like plug an equation into it. It's only like
this thing
straight
like,
up calculator.
I saw some dude fucking with it and you can literally write out like, remember like sine, cosine, tangent?
Yeah,
remember that shit?
shit?
You can write out a big ass equation like that, draw a square, and click chart, and it'll fucking chart shit for you. I'll never use it, but
certainly not.
It's just crazy that that's available now.
I saw something. It was just like a meme of a fucking tweet or whatever. But it was some dude that says like, yeah, I work for NASA. I'm a fucking like PhD in math or whatever the shit. And he's like, I just had to look up the formula for radius of a fucking something simple, but everyone was like, well, it is fucking dumb to try to remember formulas. Like I think that's an Einstein quote. It's like you only have so much room in your head. It's like why would you bother remembering that shit when it's like, well, I could just have a list of the formulas.
That's why I never understood why that was such a big part of like the curriculum or whatever. Where it was like remember these things, and it's like, well, no, because I'm not gonna remember them late. Like I'll have the ability to look them up, or I'll have a chart in front of me that goes, this is your cheat sheet on how you do it. You have to know the process and how to solve the equation, but you don't need you don't have to remember the quadratic equation?
The quadratic formula.
Yeah, I remember this bitch of a teacher bringing us, everybody had to go up to the front of the class and all right, say the equation.
Ugh.
Go ahead, say it, write it out on the board.
But then they would make such a big deal about it, but then half the time, exam time comes and they go, you can have an index card that you write some notes down on, and you're like, right.
Why was this not?
The whole time I could have been like, just having a sick index card, and like burning through shit. Instead, it's me staring at the wall, being like, a squared, then fucking c square root, like
No, I have a learning disability, whatever that means. And
sliding scale.
No, I remember being in class and like it'd be math class and like I was always shitty at math and the teacher would go, all right, everybody, here's your test. Mark, if you want to leave and go to like the test room, you can go ahead and do that. And I go, all right, and I'd leave and like you'd get as much time as you want. You'd be able to take days on it if you wanted to. And the dude, I would literally sit there and I would go, yeah, I don't understand this, and he would walk me through the equation. I'd go, wow. That makes so much sense.
You should be the teacher.
What about this one? And then they would just walk me through the test, and I'd ace these tests. And I don't know anything. That's probably why I don't know how to read.
I mean, school system, they got it figured out.
School system.
The Rockefellers really hooked us up.
No, they really hammered it home.
Yeah. No, it is so weird. Like, I was thinking school shit the other day where I was in a math class. A lot of my class, I think I told you before, when I moved here, because I went to that like weirder school, I guess some of the grades didn't like line up, so they didn't know like where
school
to
for the
put
gay.
Yeah, exactly.
Schools for the gay.
They didn't know what to call it back then. But yeah, I was my first parent teacher conference here. My the dude was explaining to my mom, like, yes, we just kind of put him in like the lower level classes for the first quarter, and then we see where he was at, and then he could go up from there. So, and he was like, yes, I mean, he's able to like go into like the more advanced classes and stuff. My mom started nodding along, be like, yeah, that's where my boy needs to be. And I was like,
Ma, how about you pump the brakes on that?
which is good and bad. Like, I'm sure I would have had way more fucking homework and shit had I been.
One thing Manuka did was they didn't believe in homework. How about that shit?
That's big.
No, yeah, like, I mean, you'd get some bullshit.
Like a project here.
Yeah,
there,
you get some homework, but
just
like
the nightly, like,
no, majority of the classes, because like our classes were an hour and a half, so like their whole
that's
like
weird.
yeah, we had A day and B day, so you had like 4
Oh.
classes one day, 4 classes the other. You had like math every other day, English every other day, and yeah, no, they would give you
Almost
shit,
more of a reason for homework.
right? Well,
You're
well, I
going
think-
days without.
Well, I think their theory was like, you have an hour and a half, so like we should have enough time to like get through whatever bullshit you want to get through. There was obviously still
If it was back to back,
there was
days,
still
I
some
would
homework.
agree.
Yeah, there was still definitely some homework, but if you did get it, you got a day and a half to fucking do it.
True.
But
I would literally get done whatever I could get done in class
and then not do it.
and just accept partial credit and just float on that.
Yeah. I had a buddy didn't turn a single thing in his senior year.
That's nice.
No, it was incredible. Failed a lot, but
It is a weird setup though that we're like junior year's the big one. You're like, and then just come back for one more.
yeah, for what? Yeah, what's this for?
And what other world is like? Yeah, the second to last is
Yeah, is it.
hit
Yeah.
that hard.
Now, same buddy, he was taking his final, and he was like, yeah, I had this smart kid next to me, and he was offering to like let me copy him and shit. And I was just too lazy to cheat, man. I didn't even want to cheat. I was just like, nah, and I just like handed in a blank test, and I failed the class. I was like, Nick, what the fuck? I'm like, you could have had like an A, you could have passed. And he goes,
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
For what?
I just couldn't like bring myself to do it.
he's lazy, but he's got morals.
That's what it is. It's fuck. Morals. God.
Morals reminds me of ethics, which, what that one brother does, bioethicist.
Yeah, what is that? Is that like Fauci?
No, Fauci.
What is Fauci? He's CDC guy?
I think that's where he worked.
They want to hang him.
Everyone
They
does.
want him at the gallows.
I mean,
They should bring back public execution for these occasions. They should hang him in Times Square.
you know what they should do? All those like, tonight, Mike Perry's fighting Jake Paul.
Yeah, I heard
And-
Rogan talking about that.
Jake Paul always has like TikTok people, like influencers, allegedly, faggots mostly.
That's what our douche of the week wants to hire for to get more women in the force.
Influencers. That's
Yeah,
good.
we'll go into that. Keep going.
But there's like 3 different instances of 2 of them are the same guy, and then one of them is Jake Paul's like professional bitch boy. But they just keep trying to like fuck with Mike Perry at like press conferences and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, I got Jake Paul." It's literally like a little.
Who's Mike Perry?
Mike Perry used to fight in the UFC, and he's the best guy in bare knuckle right now because that's like what's designed for him. He's just like a brawler, dude. So like MMA,
Okay.
he got taken down too
So he's
much and stuff.
boxing this dude
Yeah.
Okay.
Considerable
Gloves on.
size disadvantage.
with gloves.
Yeah, this is
Okay,
a Jake
okay,
Paul.
okay, I got you,
Jake,
yeah.
Jake Paul fights people when it's convenient for him. This
Okay.
is the replacement to the Tyson fight because
Okay.
Tyson is
Yeah, what? He's got an ulcer.
Yeah, and he's 1,000 years old.
Yeah, this man shouldn't be. You don't want to see him do this.
No, couple that with the
People are
influencer
excited.
thing. I don't get who the fuck that's for. Like, I don't get
People are excited.
who watches the press conference and it's like, oh my god, this guy's so funny the way he totally told Mike Perry that Jake Paul was gonna beat him. I don't get who that's like, yo.
Oh.
It's like some influencer that I've never
Who is
fuck-
gonna win?
I don't know.
If you were to guess.
I mean, you hope Mike Perry.
Yeah,
But again, like,
you got the best.
boxing is
he's got-
different from bare knuckle.
and doesn't Jake Paul? It doesn't have like the best trainers and bullshit.
Yeah.
He's got unlimited money.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
He's just so fucking.
That'd be fun to have. That'd be fun to have the bankroll to just pick up a hobby.
Yeah, that's
And-
like Zuckerberg when he's like building his own katana in Japan.
Yeah.
The
Like-
schlubbiest little dude.
Yes.
Least samurai.
They're trying to humanize that dude.
Yeah, that's like a campaign. That's why he keeps going to the UFCs.
Really? I could see that.
Same thing with Dana. Or,
He's such an awkward
Trump.
fuck.
Oh, yeah.
He's just like,
You ever see the video of him when he walks out with Volk
yeah, I have seen that.
and they go for the high five?
He's real like just stiff, is awkward. He's like if Bill Gates was younger and was like doing shit like that. It's like
I feel like
when
Bill Gates got money and then that went away, where he's got money and is still like.
yeah, he's doing like the Elon thing. Well, that's what rich people do now. They want to be an online personality, like Elon.
Well, because that's what they grew
Zuck.
up on the internet, so that's their
Is that
idea
what
of
it is?
being cool. I
That
feel like
makes
old
sense.
school rich people is like, time to get my leather jacket and my Mustang.
Yes,
You know, now
and
it's
that-
like,
yes,
no,
now you'll never see me again,
dude, Elon posts fucking like
He's
the most
insane.
dad meme, like Facebook meme shit on Twitter.
Yeah.
From like a decade ago level memes.
He posts that, and then he'll post like stuff about election fraud. Have you seen the latest thing he posted about election fraud?
I know he was on the board of directors of one of the companies I was looking into earlier.
Really?
And then
Oh boy.
yeah. Oh, he jumped off it.
Really?
Yeah.
He's donating, I think, something. I'm gonna butcher the number, but he's donating like 50 million, like a month to Trump or some shit.
Wow.
No, some
Crazy to have an emerald mine.
Yeah, no, just some
Nuts.
This is insane. An emerald mine?
That's what his dad has.
Elon?
Yeah.
And where in Africa?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah. That is an emerald mine.
An emerald mine.
He said, I guess there's some
How
interview
many
where he's
slaves
saying
does
like,
he have?
slave. A lot.
That's insane.
About as many as the Chinese.
Yeah, no.
And their cobalt mines. But yeah, I guess someone was saying how Musk
What,
would
South
like,
African? I'm sorry.
I guess so,
Okay.
yeah. But he would go into like a jeweler with like a couple emeralds on him and like just cash them out.
His dad?
No,
Elon.
Yeah. So that way it was like an untraceable ATM essentially. So it's like there's no tracking of like how much money, because it's just like, yeah, I got a pocket full of emeralds. I go to the jeweler. He gives me money.
Gives me
now I
cash.
got money.
I go out, I spend it,
Yeah.
and then I do this.
There's no like ATM receipt of like he withdrew $100 grand this
Fucked up.
month. Yeah.
That's wild. That's wild.
Just levels of money you can't comprehend,
Yeah.
like emerald mine money.
Yeah. He posted some good point about like election fraud, which goes back to Zuckerberg. Apparently in 2020, which I'm sure this will get us no views now. This will get flagged.
And we were gonna have so many.
We're gonna have so many. No, I'll put my foot up at the end. It'll be fine.
Well, people are coming here from the trailer now.
That's what it is. They're coming from the trailer. Don't touch me. They're coming from the trailer. They're coming from the
Why are we
news.
so close all of a sudden?
I don't
feel like
know.
this has never happened.
No, never. The Alex Jones was saying in 2020 with that election, if you're 5 points ahead, like apparently Zuckerberg just threw a shitload of money at the campaign or some shit. And what they do is the reason why like Georgia or Nevada or like whatever or Arizona, like whatever states were like delayed, where it was like,
Nevada was the bad one because
Yeah.
Tim Dillon had that sketch about it.
yeah. So what happens is they open up a database with all dead people, and they're just names. They vote for those
Yeah.
names. So that's what they're saying. Elon posted some shit on Twitter where he was like, "We're letting in 15 million people. Like we've let in like 20 million people, 15 million people, like immigrants. They don't have to go vote. They don't need a card. Like they don't have to go vote. We just need their name in the system so that it could be like, well, all these people voted. It's like, well, who the fuck are these people? They don't have voter cards.
Yeah.
I guess that's why they're voting for voter cards and all that shit, which I guess that passed, but it's crazy to think about that, like 5 point, I mean, Trump's already leading by fucking 50, but it doesn't matter anymore. Man got shot, but
It's
getting
locked up.
he's getting the convict vote. Nah, he's a felon. He got shot. He's gonna have a rap album next.
He already took the picture of the cover.
No, incredible. Incredible.
There's so many comments of that picture being like, we need a bronze statue
Of this statue. No, I can imagine the hard on that photographer had. Like, because I saw him, you see him run up and like he takes like 5 photos from that angle. And like, him looking at at it later and going like, "Holy shit, I got it. That's it. That's the picture.
I did it.
That's the history book picture. Like you see those pictures of like Kennedy and the
Trump's next book will have that. As
Yeah,
the
no,
cover.
that's the that picture's on T-shirts. It's on everything.
Do you know what his last book was named?
No,
The Man in the Arena.
stop it. Man in the arena. That's insane.
And this is true, folks.
This is true. I'm fighting for my life now.
People tell me they see me as a bit of a fighter myself. I'm talking at like the UFC. Shane Gillis was pointing out how like he's just an old guy. He's like his move. Any man he meets, he shakes his hand. He goes, "Wow, look at this guy. He's strong." Like
Strong.
he says strong or handsome or like
Wow.
good looking guy.
Look at
Like,
this guy, good looking man.
yeah, he just compliments everybody. He's like, "Wow, look at this."
I shook his hand and said, "Wow, such a strong grip.
Wow, ooh,
You must masturbate."
this guy's gonna be a champ one day. Just like grandpa uncle.
He should have had a real missed opportunity. He should have had Bruce Buffer at the convention announcing people.
Dana was there.
I saw that.
He looked nervous as hell. It was very funny.
Really?
It's like shaking with his paper.
Really? That's funny. That's odd for him.
Well,
I feel like
when he speaks in front of the media at UFC conferences, the media is fake. It's only people that are let in by him. And if anyone asks a real question, he says, take
Fuck
their
you.
credentials away and they can never come back. So it's a glorified, like, Dana, what do you want to talk about? And he's like, power slap, and doing numbers through the roof. And they're like, that was in that one fight. Did you think it was weird? And he's like, next. Get this guy the fuck out of here. Like,
Really?
Yeah. So that's why, like, there's real journalists on Twitter that will cover other organizations, and they're like, hilarious that no one wanted to ask Dana about this or that. Like, when the lawsuit was going on, no one would ask him shit about that at the press
I
conference.
was gonna say you didn't see much videos in that.
Did I tell you what happened with that?
No.
Remember how I told you they settled for, like, that amount of money?
I think the last time we were doing the pod, they settled.
The judge reopened it and said, I don't think that this is...
Good.
He's like, I don't think that this is like an equal, like this amount of money for the, like I think this needs to, so it's dangerous because now I think he pushed it through, but now it's dangerous because if they lose, they get nothing. So I think that was why the fighters were like, we'll take the guaranteed money.
Oh,
so now it's like,
so if you lose the fight, you get no money.
I guess so, now that it's like to trial.
Wow.
But if they win, they'll get like much, much, much more money and like effective change for the future, not just like a lump sum. Which you'd think they'd have a good chance of winning if the judge was like overturned them accepting the...
That must suck to go and lose and not get anything.
Well, you're going up against fucking... Every time it does, I'm going to have to put it in. But you're going up against a top 3 biggest agency in Hollywood is who owns them.
The UFC?
Yeah, there's a group
Well,
called
not only
TKO that is like the merged UFC and WWE, that like new company.
That's not the Jewish mob.
No, Endeavor owns them, and the CEO of Endeavor is the third brother of the Jewish
Let's
mafia.
go into these 3 brothers. The 3 brothers.
He's the one I don't want to talk about today. I don't have him finished. The oldest brothers who I was talking
The
about
Endeavor
earlier.
guy? You don't have it finished?
Don't have him finished.
That's fine.
Too much.
Okay. That's next week. We need shit to talk about next week, so that's fine. We'll get into more.
There's gonna be a 2-parter Jewish mafia.
Let's do let's do the first 2 brothers.
All right. I was starting to talk about the other brother, the bioethnist.
Yeah.
And also, just mention their father.
My father.
My father.
Is he my father?
From Israel. This guy.
Back to shipbuilding.
This guy. Irgun. IRGUN. I know sometimes we say terrorist and it's like, well.
IRGUN.
Yeah. And it's like, sometimes they say terrorist and you're like, well, is it a matter of perspective? You know, maybe a freedom fighter from one angle, terrorist from another.
His first name's Ergon?
No, it's the name of the group.
Oh, the name of the group. Beautiful.
So Irgun is, they say that they're a freedom fighting group, but Israel themselves disavows them and says that they're terrorists.
Yeah, the Office of the Department of Justice classifies them as a terror out of Zion.
And they're known for their like indiscriminate attacks. Like they would just blow up a street to get like one bad guy. They'd kill like dozens, women and children and innocent
Really?
people. Yeah, that was their MO. So that's why, even though they were like working towards the betterment of Israel and stuff, Israel still considered them terrorists because it's like, well, juice isn't worth the squeeze with y'all.
They're an underground Zionist organization founded in 1931, supported largely by the non-socialist elements, along
So
with Jewish settlers in Palestine.
the one guy comes over. I forget his full name. Oh, if you go to my minimized, and then yeah, so that guy on top.
Benjamin Emanuel.
There you go. He comes over, you know, allegedly with nothing. The article I'm reading about is, you know, he comes over with barely any money, can barely speak the language. He comes over. All of a sudden, he's like got his own pediatrician practice. Like,
The father.
yeah. And it's like, hey,
When did he come over? He came over long ago.
uh,
This is like in the 90s.
no, earlier.
Okay.
Because all his sons are like in their 60s now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So this is like in the 60s maybe. But so this could just be like classic good immigrant story.
Immigrant shit. Whatever.
They come over,
A lot of
they
people
did
do this.
good.
Sure.
There's you know, fishy things. So most of the fishy things, I'll be honest, come in more.
We're not the first on this. Alex Jones was on this years ago.
2016.
Yeah, he was on this
talking about. He was
2016.
telling Trump.
It's old news. Yeah.
I'm just trying to organize it because you
We're
know
getting Oregon. Yeah. He fucking
Alex
rants.
Jones. Yeah, one thing here, one thing here.
A fucking Jew mafia.
So I'm trying to condense. The oldest brother, Ezekiel Emanuel, is a bioethnist, which means he handles like, where does he work? National Institutes of Health Clinical Center. That's like for the country. That's like the big
Yeah.
sets the tone for everything.
Bioethics deals with the ethics of issues of such as
Yeah.
abortion, surrogacy, cloning, stem cells, eugenics, genetic modification.
Where does eugenics come from?
Exactly. No. Genetic modification, elder care, euthanasia, organ donation, head transplants, cryon, freezing people, bringing them back to life later, data privacy, healthcare.
So
So okay. So yeah.
So if this is just your job, it's whatever. But when it's your job at the highest level of the country and you're informing the policies on all those things, so like elder care doesn't, because there was other things that I didn't include that weren't as like hot button or whatever. Elder care I put in there because like we were talking about the COVID thing, you know, it kills all the old fat people. Is that because everyone's always worried about like our social security running out or whatever? So they axed off all those people that are living off
sense.
the government, and then has that money come back? So
That's
just
a fun
there's
thought.
a guy that's in these, you know, weird thing like the cloning, the eugenics, the genetic modification, all that shit is obviously weird. And then as far as like rich people shit, you have like the freezing people, bringing them
Yeah.
back.
And which like eugenics, like you think when you think of that, you think like, oh, Nazis, or you think of crazy shit like
Nazis.
that. But it's like even the newer shit now that like what that like CRISPR thing with the DNA.
That's
Have you heard?
genetic modification?
Yeah. So like I remember someone saying how like if that became like they can alter out DNA to where you don't get certain diseases. And it's like, yes, that's good. And then it's like, well, what happens when that is mandatory? When you have a baby, okay, it needs to be CRISPR. Like you got to put the baby through this CRISPR program or whatever. Like when the baby's being developed, you have to genetically modify, and if you don't, like you're putting the rest. It's almost like the COVID thing, where it's
Right.
like you got to get the shot or you're gonna fucking kill people. So it's like at what point?
I wonder if the other kid doesn't have the gene for it. Can they get it still?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know. But then you got to think about like if we're altering the gene pool and it's mandatory, that's eugenics, right? You're altering the gene pool. So it's like it's not like what it used to be of like, oh, well, we got to kill off all these people and make sure that these people can only have kids. It's like, no, well, it's just altering the gene pool and like
The other things that are in there is like
gonna
the
hit that
population control. Oh,
Yeah,
for
keep
sure.
going.
But the population control aspect of it, again, elder care, like maybe making sure the care isn't so great, you know, and that they die off. Euthanasia, making it okay to just fucking axe people. making sure that these organs are going to the right places.
Are you an organ donor?
Yeah.
Me too.
Data
about
privacy,
taking
so all
it
your
off.
like your bio information,
Yeah. Which makes you wonder, like, Face ID,
your biometric shit.
all that shit, yeah.
The abortion stances in this again, population control, the surrogacy thing where it's like maybe that again, all these things in a vacuum aren't bad, but just what this family is kind of like linked to.
When you see the type of people who are in charge, it's the same thing with like the think tanks and stuff like that, where these people go through these colleges and they go into these think tanks or whatever, and everybody gets on the same program, and then the people that now all those people are on the same Okay, now you're head of J.P. Morgan Chase. You're head of this bio company. You're head of Exxon.
Let's finish this guy because then that is the next guy's shit.
Okay.
So for Obama's administration, he gets brought in as a special advisor for healthcare. Doesn't everyone hate Obamacare, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that the thing with that? Which I think he was actually like arguing against that. But again, this is all alleged.
I also don't know. I don't know if people don't like Obamacare.
He was one of 16 people appointed to the COVID advisory board. So again, he's on like a short list of who the White House calls for medical advice.
You're the dude.
Yeah. And then he's professor of the department for the bioethnics at University of Pennsylvania. And again, this, I don't know how much it matters. Like, maybe there's a bunch of colleges that have a record like this, but I thought it was just noteworthy that, like, this is who his alumni is. You want to hit some of those big guys?
So this is the alum. What college are you going to? You went to the University of Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that was a big school.
I didn't either. When I first saw it, I thought it was Penn, it's not.
It is when you hear this, though. It's fourth oldest college in the U.S., sixth richest private college. The alumni, 8 founding fathers.
Which that one I was like, well, maybe because it's so old, like they just have to go there or whatever.
Yeah, like exactly.
So I'm like, I'm down to like give benefit of the doubt, but then you keep reading and it's like, oh, is that me?
8 founding fathers.
Oh. I set alarms last night so when I passed out from pills, I could wake back up and enjoy them more. Set it for AM. Not
AM. 11:15. You want to be up? Ride it out.
I was supposed to be up till 1. I probably went to sleep at like 10:45.
That's the worst. I do that with edibles.
Real pissed about it.
Yeah. Anyways, alumni of the University of Pennsylvania, you got 8 founding fathers, 24 congressmen, 32 senators, 163 state reps, 46 governors, 3 presidents, 19 cabinet secretaries, 9 heads of foreign states, 3 Supreme Court justices, and 36 billionaires.
Which is the most of any U.S. college. So that's where I was like,
wow.
So, because the other ones, I'm like, maybe Harvard has like those same numbers or whatever. But then when it's like 36 living billionaires, which is the most of it, and it's like, well, if it has the most billionaires, maybe this is like, it has the most of all those things too. So yeah, that's the oldest brother of this guy. So he's got like the medical side of things locked up. He's at the top of that. So then the next brother is Rahm Emanuel.
The three traditional societies at the University of Pennsylvania: the Fairs, the Sphinx, and the Mortar Board.
Oh, I was looking up all their coats of arms and shit with they have like little Latin expressions.
This is in Penn State? No.
University of Pennsylvania. Okay. Penn State is the one that has
so that's like University of Chicago. That's like the big one. That's the fancy one.
With the griffin.
Yeah. So that's interesting.
So yeah, the other brother, Rahm Emanuel.
Yes, Rahm Emanuel, who was he was a mayor, wasn't he?
For a while, yeah.
Governor? Mayor?
No, mayor of Chicago for a while. That's where I recognized him from.
Real heeb.
Well, what's funny is he looks like such a...
Who passed him up? Beetlejuice? That one chick?
Oh, who took over after?
Yeah.
Okay. Lori Lightfoot?
Yeah, and now it's the black dude.
Yeah, I don't know anything about him.
I don't either.
I just know that Lori's gone.
Yeah. Oh, Beetlejuice.
Oh, man, shoot.
She was horrifying. Got those big old no bug eyes.
Yeah, she looked like a racist caricature that someone would draw.
If you mixed Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben.
That's Probably true. More than that. That's why they had to take them off the bottles. They didn't want people connecting the dots.
Yeah, sons of bitches. I hate that. I hate that Uncle Ben.
I think the Zatarans guy is still on there. And Zatarans is the racist one of the three of them.
Zatarans.
It's rice. And you ever see the commercial where it's like a jazz man and he's like, Zatarans. It's like the KFC commercials. Or Popeyes commercials. Or no. KFC commercial.
No, they must have took him off.
No.
Oh, no. There he is. Yeah. Jazz Man.
What the fuck is the orange one? Popeyes. KFC's
Popeyes.
Yeah, okay. Love my chicken Popeye.
Yeah.
Louisiana.
Louisiana hot.
Yeah.
Nah,
That's like the Zatarans thing. They go Zatarans.
Yeah. But
Meanwhile, Andrew Mima and Uncle Ben are just...
Yeah, and then they'll leave that fucking Quaker's honky. I gotta look at that fucking colonialist every day.
He didn't have slaves?
No, exactly.
You think that guy didn't
think
have...
he didn't fuck anybody up?
Think he was in the field?
Yeah. How many scriptures was he burning?
The Land O'Lakes Native American girl's back, right?
No. I don't think so.
Isn't it weird that everyone, like, kind of gets that she's hot?
She's hot, right?
So, but yeah, but everyone, like, I've heard it so many times where people be like, is she hot? And everyone's like, oh, yeah. Like, it's just, like, a weirdly known thing.
Yeah, look. There's what she looked like. Yeah, no. She throws it back.
Doesn't have a choice. Wow. That's not great.
Hey, that ain't it.
Rahm Emanuel.
Yeah, Rob Emanuel. Is it
Rahm.
I know, but is it Emanuel?
Emanuel.
Emanuel.
Okay.
Rom.
So, senior advisor and chief fundraiser for Richard Daley's mayoral campaign in '89. So that's like his...
Ooh, Mayor Daley, I remember him.
And note that he's chief fundraiser. That's gonna be that's his role in a lot of these administrations. When he's not
He's
like the main
money.
guy, he's the fundraiser.
He's the money guy.
Well, not who's in charge of the money, but who gets it from other people.
Yeah.
Who gets the money coming in. Director of the finance committee for Bill Clinton's campaign. Again, now he's the money guy again. At the time, he was able to amass, or this was an unheard of amount of money at the time. Through his knowledge of top donors, his rapport with the heavily Jewish community. He said this guy Steve Rabinowitz, who's like
Rabinowitz.
he's like the dude.
Don't touch me.
I have not moved my foot. You keep touching my foot. So this Steve guy is like the spokesperson for America to Israel, kind of. He's like the dude that...
Steve Rabinowitz?
Yeah, he explains to Israel, like,
he schmoozed.
who are the good guys looking out for you in America. So he's kind of like this big figure that... I don't know what his actual title is. I don't think he's an actual politician, but he's just like a political commentator, writes articles.
You said Rabinowitz, he smoozed money from the traditional Democratic Party from the traditional Democratic Party givers who are disproportionately Jewish. Disproportionately Jewish.
Yeah, so I don't truly understand, because in my reading, like, he's super pro-Jewish, so then when he's talking about, like, yeah, he schmoozed money from this party that's disproportionately Jewish, I was like, I don't know what exactly he's getting at, but...
He was a paid retainer of Goldman Sachs?
Yeah, I didn't look into that.
What's a retainer?
I know you put a lawyer on retainer, like, you pay him a little bit to be, like, at the ready, like...
Oh, so just like you're on call.
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
interesting.
you still get paid as a lawyer for doing the thing.
If shit pops off, though, I need you.
Yeah. So, you go back to the other thing.
Yeah. Senior advisor to the president for policy and strategy from Clinton to 93 to 98.
Yeah, but for the other thing, when he was Clinton's campaign in 92, is the finance committee. Like, when this dude is saying, just, like, this is what is going to matter later. Like, chief fundraiser, finance committee, through his knowledge. You have to understand, like, he says an unheard of amount of money. Like, all these fundraising dudes, he crushed them. And he's new as shit. He's been in politics for like 5 years.
Really?
So an unheard of amount of money he's able to get
That he's gaining.
through knowledge of top donors, which you would think that's something you could only get from being around and getting experience. How do you just know the top donors? New in the game. His rapport with the heavily Jewish donor community. And then, yeah, side note, just on retainer from Goldman Sachs. Have to look into that still. And then, like you're saying, now he's senior advisor to the president for policy and strategy for Clinton, 93 to 98. Okay, so now leaves politics for a quick sec. No history of banking.
No.
No schooling of banking.
Except for the Goldman Sachs thing. Well, he was a lawyer.
But I'm saying no, again, that's put on, no, he's not a lawyer or anything.
Oh, he's just a retainer. Okay.
I just as like an advisor, I guess,
see.
or something. But no history or schooling of this. Because even the retainer thing, like, I think that's, who knows if that's even like a real thing or if that's just like a
job.
Like when they put so-and-so
Title.
into Ukraine to be in charge of whatever. And it's like, yeah, so-and-so needed to, it's like the mob.
The Ukraine.
Yeah. Okay, so in 98, he leaves politics for a sec. He goes and works at, what was that? Wasserstein and Perella.
Wasserstein, Perella, and Co.
So
From 98 to 2000. Despite having no prior experience in banking or no MBA degree.
yeah.
He was a manager. He was managing a director of a Chicago's firm office.
So it's not even like he starts at an entry level. He starts at managing the firm's Chicago office, and he made over $16 million in his 2 years there. Then goes and is on the board of directors for Freddie Mac, which is the like mortgage company.
Yeah.
Can you read the subpoints of that one?
Yeah, in director for Freddie Mac in 2003, right after he left, Freddie Mac revealed that it was understating earnings by $5 billion. It was only fined $125 million.
So right after this motherfucker leaves,
So he's with Freddie Mac and then he leaves in 03?
yeah, he's with him for 3 years and then when he leaves, then Freddie Mac decides to fess up and be like, yeah, we've actually been underreporting what we made by $5 billion. And then their only penalty that they have to pay, which Forbes called peanuts, is that they pay $125 million on the five. Yeah. So then Freddie Mac illegally used corporate resources between 2000 and 2003, the time he was there, for 85 different fundraisers that collected about $1.7 million for candidates. So now circle back to what I was saying before, where he's the fundraising guy. It's like, how is he getting all these unheard of amounts of money? It's like, oh.
He's just underreporting at these companies he works for.
Yeah. And then who knows when they finally come out and say, we underreported by $5 billion, did they underreport by $10 billion? And now they're saying.
They went back 2 years or some shit?
No, I'm saying if they didn't get caught.
Yeah.
And it's on them to say, like, hey, we actually had $5 billion that we didn't disclose. What's to stop them from actually having had $10 billion? And now they're going to be like, oh, it's like if the cops busted you for weed or whatever. He's like, I smell the weed in the car. And you're like, oh, officer, you're right. I have this dime bag on me. Little does he know there's an ounce in the back. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you got a brick in the back still, but you fess up to like, is that the same thing that's happening here? Is he fessing up to $5 billion? Meanwhile, Rahm Emanuel's already taken the 1.7 for fundraisers and shit like that.
That's interesting. Because the cop wouldn't check the rest of the card. Go, okay, thank you for being honest. Maybe.
Most.
That's interesting. Wow.
Some. Whatever.
That's like a bluff.
Yeah, you're like, you're giving him something.
No, yeah.
So I just thought it was interesting that both of these things happen. The one happens right after he leaves, and then the other one happens years later, but it's about the 3 years that he was there for.
Yeah.
Then he goes and is a state representative for 03 to 09. He oversaw the Dems taking control of the House back in 06 for the first time in like
94.
10 years.
White House Chief of Staff for 09 to 2010. Who's that, Obama?
Yeah. And then he leaves to become mayor of Chicago, and now he's ambassador to Japan, which I need to look into because
what does that mean?
So this is what I started to get into this morning was that TTP thing. It's like the Trans-Pacific Trade Pact or something. That's what Alex Jones was referencing. That he goes Chinese communist, Japanese, and the globalist. You know, he's ranting and ranting. So he says those three people together, and I'm looking into the trade thing and. Again, I haven't looked into it much, but in the trade thing, when I go to criticisms of it, it says that it's like easy to manipulate currencies, and that the other standout thing I saw was the corporations can sue the government, but the government cannot sue the corporation.
Really?
Yeah, which seems like such a
backwards.
Seems like such a transparent, like, oh, so who's running who? Like, yeah. So he said that. They had ties with Japan in 2016, and then in 2021, he got appointed to ambassador of Japan. It's like, all right, I don't.
Because what is like when shit just lines up? It's like when Simpsons predicts things and people freak out.
And it's not like a thing that you could follow as logically, where it's like, it's not like the San Francisco mayor, where it's like, oh, Japan, right there. Like,
yeah,
in Chicago, the fuck do you have to do with Japan?
Yeah, where are you going? Yeah.
And then. That was like his timeline, but then these are just some other notable things that have come up.
He mailed a rotting fish to a pollster
who was late with the results. Didn't even do anything wrong. He just didn't get the polls back to him fast enough, and he sent him a rotting fish, which isn't the most Jewish thing.
Which is also like isn't that what the mob does when they say they're gonna kill you?
Horsehead.
They send you a fish, meaning you'll be swimming with the fishes. That's what they did in The Godfather.
Cement shoes. At a celebratory dinner, he stood up.
Is that dude alive? The pollster?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, he is? Okay. That'd be crazy if he was dead.
Well, I think if it's not like a big enough... I think that's the point, though, is that it's not like another enemy or something he sent. It's like some kid or whatever. He's like, you fucked me.
You fucked me over.
Yeah.
You fucked me over.
So this is at a celebratory dinner. His team won. And instead of just going along happily and like doing his little speech the way everyone else does, he stands up and starts reading the list of names of people that like didn't side with him in the election. And he would read a name and go, dead, and stab a knife into the table. This person, dead. This person, dead.
Really?
He was such a hothead in the early side of his career. This works a lot better in print than it does in speech, but they called him Rambo.
Really?
It'd be like Rambo, but spoken. But in writing, it looks like Rambo. So, because he's so like crazy.
He screamed to the UK Prime Minister, "Don't fuck this up."
When he was there to help, he was like giving a pro-Clinton speech. Like they asked this dude to come out and help, and he shows up to help. And instead of being like, "Oh, thanks," if you could kind of hit this point, he's like, "Don't fuck this up. This means we need to." Like that's like his entire reputation as being a
hothead.
Jones was saying that in cabinet meetings, he straight up would like tell Obama to shush, and he's like, "I'm in charge."
Really?
Which seems crazy, but
but
seems
still,
hyperbolic. But and then allegedly he.
But if that's where all of the campaign money is coming from, like that's like with when like all these donors donate to these campaign dudes, and it's like, here's $100 million. Hey, you owe me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or it's like
in for nothing.
Like in that Vice show we like, or that movie we like, when Rumsfeld wipes his DUI under the rug, and he's like, "Hey, thank you," and he's like, "No, it's not thank you. You owe me."
Yeah,
like it's not thank you. I don't give a fuck about your thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah. Hey, what do we believe? Fucking laughs at him.
You know what he's like? He's like Charlie in Always Sunny when he goes to work with Frank. He's
like,
yeah. What do we make?
What do we make? What do we do? What do we produce? What do you mean? We make money.
Yeah. No, I know.
We create wealth.
We create wealth.
What are you talking about? That's crazy. So we're going the Third Son next week?
Yeah, I'll finish it up with the third, because I have to
a little highlight reel of the Third Son, or like a little setup for the Third Son.
The Third Son is, if you've ever watched Entourage or the Larry Sanders Show, two shows about like Hollywood. Both of those shows have a character based on him because he's such like a notable figure in the community. He
owns Endeavor.
The facts and stuff we can get into later, like the specifics, but just a general overview is, if the oldest brother is medicine and that lane of things, and the second brother is politics
and finance.
The third brother is media.
Entertainment.
Which is a pretty good 3-step process.
Pretty damn good. That's pretty nice. You can make the propaganda. You can finance it.
He started his own. He worked at an agency, like one of the biggest, and then him and a couple dudes broke off, made their own in like 96, I think it was. And then by the time like 06 rolls around, he's already merged with another one of the biggest companies. And then like in another 10 years, then they bought one of the biggest companies. So I think they're like they're one of the top 3 biggest agencies in Hollywood. I think it depends like what you're rating it by.
Yeah.
To see what is like the best and biggest, but it's like CAA, one other one, and then them, which is Endeavor. And they own not only are they just like a talent agency as far as, we have Ben Stiller signed and all these different people. They also just own shit. Like they bought from Trump all the Miss America pageants.
Really?
And which I think has some tie back to Epstein stuff.
I mean, I would assume.
I'm pretty sure. So I have to dig into that.
Makes sense. There's beautiful women missing.
And then I don't know. These are things where it's like, you can.
We can put the tinfoil hat on. Gives a fuck.
It's one of those things.
It's
where
our
it's like,
show.
If it goes all the way, then if other things are proven, then this becomes believable. Saying it right now, it's like stretch, not hanging my hat on, but just saying like they bought the UFC. And it's like someone made the point of like, well, you're doing all these other like elite things. It's like, well, wouldn't you like to have your own Coliseum in a way? Like, so part of it's just like good business grabbing stuff, but then part of you does wonder where it's like, oh, they grab Miss Universe for a reason. Maybe they grab this for a reason. Like if there's something specific to some of them. But, the man is one of the most powerful people in Hollywood. He's been on, like, Forbes Businessman of the Year list.
Is there ties to Ukraine?
Barely.
Barely. Okay, never mind.
The dad is from Israel. The mom's side of the family. I think the mom is from America, but her parents came from the Ukraine.
Oh, okay.
If I'm not mistaken.
There's not much on those people.
Yeah, no. I couldn't.
Their last name's Zelensky.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
They're also actors.
Yeah, no, that's fucked up. He was an actor.
It's one thing to be an actor, but like
he played a president in a show.
That's what I mean.
But then it makes you wonder because we saw that video of him meeting with all the like BlackRock and all the financial people and JP Morgan and they're all the people that just own Ukraine now. And it's like of course you would appoint just some dumb fuck. Like you just appoint some dude who's like, here's a fuck ton of money.
But if you're the people of the Ukraine and you've been watching like The Office and then Steve Carell is your president, that's weird.
Yeah, well, Reagan was an actor.
But it was a bad one.
Was he? I don't know.
Like he wasn't
It'd be like
B-list.
Oh, okay.
As far as I remember.
Yeah. You know who should be president? Kevin Spacey.
Well, that's what I was going to bring up. Do you think it's better to have
a good actor?
Well, obviously, tremendous actor. But I'm saying he played like the House of Cards. Like everyone knows him as a politician. President. So now, do you think that's a smoother? Because that's what they did with Zelensky.
100%.
Is that a smoother transition, or does that?
Because you already see him in the suit. You see him in the White House.
Doesn't that make it for sure fake? Wouldn't you rather get a rando and just plug him in and be like, yeah, no, he's a politician.
For years.
Yeah. If you get the guy from the TV show, isn't that like for sure? Like.
I don't know, unless he was like widely loved, maybe. But still.
But now back to Steve Carell. It's like everyone loves Steve Carell. You don't want him as president.
That makes sense.
So I don't understand how that would work. I'm not trying to like be disrespectful to the people of the Ukraine, but I feel like you would see the guy from the TV show and be like, oh, things aren't great if he's the president.
Yeah. No.
Because look at it, how everyone talks about us. Trump is like a TV star.
Yeah.
And he's our president. Everyone laughs at us. It's like,
Well, no, you have an actual TV star.
yeah, why are we... He's a TV star based on being an actor. Our TV star was like at least a rich guy
and
that
was shot.
build a show around. Yeah.
And was shot. Let's go. Let's talk about that.
In 4K.
Yeah, in 4K. Can you imagine like the universe split, right? The universe split that day. One half is what we're living now, and the other half is he was gone, like on TV.
Bonk said that at work. He was like, this is the only universe that he survives in.
That's crazy to think about. Like, what would have happened? I don't know. It's fucked up.
I would think that things would progressively get worse, to be honest.
Probably.
It's so weird that he's the guy.
Oh, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
That like everybody's like, woo!
People thought like Jocko was gonna be what it took to get in the one. It's like, nope, actually, fairy boy from the Ivory Tower.
Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Donald J. Trump, everyone.
Bro. You are.
They're in the way, man. Those fucking size 12s. 13s.
But yeah, so I'll finish up the Emanuel brothers for next week.
Should we run through the Trump shooting?
Yeah, we kind of started bringing it up.
Right. We got 4 minutes, or we can save that for next week.
Wow.
I know. I didn't realize until right now.
That seems impossible. Yeah, I guess
should we
probably
should we do you want? All right, here's your douche of the week. I don't know who the fuck this lady is, but we're doing a little segment every week.
Some rag on CNN.
Yes, some gash talking about fight. The little highlight. We'll go more into the Trump thing next week. Because I think it's
Emanuel brothers.
It's still developing.
Trump stuff.
It's still developing.
Oh,
they're still pulling out info from this
and
thing.
people are making great videos where they have all the things lined up. Like we'll have better resources.
Yeah, no,
I
have some. Yeah, no, I have some stuff, but yeah, no, we'll go more into that. But this bitch, Trump. We all saw the video. Trump gets up and he goes, wait. He goes up and he says, fight. Really fire up the crowd.
I do want to say there was one thing that when I watched the tape, I found odd because of all of the heated rhetoric. And that is that after he was hit, former President Trump got up and said, fight. I think what we're hearing from people is that's not the message that we want to be sending right now. We want to tamp it down.
Yeah, I would just know one thing on this, to that point.
Tamp it down. You tried to kill a man.
The heated rhetoric.
The heated rhetoric is that a man almost got shot in the face on live TV.
You're the type of lady that gets called a Karen because you can't handle like someone playing in the street or whatever. Like, let's see how you hold up to having your ears shot off.
Yeah.
And see if you don't start screaming fucking bloody murder. Like,
You see the Tenacious D dude?
I don't see what he said, but I saw Jack Black saying like he's done.
Yeah, he's out.
Which,
Gone.
what the fuck?
Isn't that crazy?
What did the guy say?
He went on stage and he was, this was like moments at, like, I don't know if it was the next day or a few hours they were doing like a show that night. And the dude was on stage and he was like talking about how it's a shame the shooter missed. You know, he should have been dead.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was on
Oh,
stage.
I figured he was going the other way.
No.
Oh, I'm
he was
back with Jack Black.
Yeah. He was on stage talking about that shit. And
it is very funny, all these like non-violent people that like.
That's what I mean, dude. Every blue-haired bitch on Instagram is like, you had one shot, you couldn't hit him, and
It's
like,
such a tired point because everyone makes it, but I mean, it is just like you see it so often. It's hard to not make the comment. Like
weird.
Everyone said that. Everyone was like, "Oh,
Someone said to me at work yesterday.
wish you had better aim." Like it's such a gay, dumb joke to make, even if you do feel that way. But it's also like you're. So let me just read the list of things you believe in. Like Trump was who started.
Trump's a Nazi.
Trump invented violence in this country. Yeah. Everything was fine prior to 2016 when he invented racism. Like all these things but then like, well, now you're violent. Like, did he corrupt you?
Yeah. I'm so angry because there's just a man that doesn't affect me is in office.
Maybe when Trump dies, it'll be like the head Leviathan being cut off.
Yeah.
And all the other people, all the
trans
Republicans
will come out.
decay,
Yeah. All the gays.
they'll wither in the sun like vampires. I do really hate that it's gotten to that point that or it's been at this point that we just talk about like the mainstream is able to just talk about Republicans as they're the bad team.
Yeah.
My entire life, I've been in the middle, and if you put a gun to my head, I would say left. And it's just ever since this shit has popped up where I'm like, I guess right, just because, not that I want to be associated with either side, but
that ain't it.
The right at least doesn't yell at me for being in the middle. The left will yell at me for not being in the middle.
Or for being in the middle.
For being in the middle, rather, yeah.
How could you even think about going to the other side? And then it's like you think, but then Tim Dillon, Alex Jones were talking, and it's like Alex Jones was saying the same thing where he's like, I'm a Democrat, like that's my views, and then he goes into how the Democratic Party used to be anti-CIA, look at JFK, he was Democrat.
Well, look at the free speech. When me and you grew up, if something couldn't be played on TV, it was because the conservative Christian right
said we can't do that.
That was what the free speech.
It's like, oh, these pussies.
And now
it's the opposite.
The people that protested and marched and stuff to make sure we had these rights are the ones being like, well,
you can't say that.
Not if it's what we don't agree with.
Yeah.
It's like, but
did you fight so that we could say whatever the fuck we wanted?
And also, if it's not us and it's another group, again, if someone comes over and wants to talk about their religious beliefs, which they should be able to do, but some of those beliefs sometimes, the one, I don't know how many examples there are other than this, but the one that always gets brought up is the female mutilation, genital mutilation, and it's yeah, that's beyond talking, that's doing something, and we're
it's of course that's bad.
You let people go and talk about it and promote it, and so you don't tell them to shut the fuck up. It's one of those things where you can't, if you have a big blanket rule, you can't then start going and amending every little thing about it. It's I don't know, man. It's all obvious shit that gets beat to death, so I feel dumb for even trying to spell it out again, but
it's very odd.
It's so loud right now. You have to
odd.
Clarify where you're at.
Yeah. How can you even go over to the other side? How dare you? You're a racist. But then you even think about, but then you look at it and people say oh, well, Trump's a racist. And it's is he? I don't. He said the grab him by the pussy thing. It's kind of fucked up. He's had some, but it's you're also a rich dude. And that's also just what, that's
I don't
how
think anyone's ever defended that as he should be able to do that. It's just no, it's just not as bad as you're making it out to be. Yeah. That's the only thing.
I don't
it's not as damning a thing as.
It's not good.
It's also the classic thing of that fucks up someone that plays by the politician rules because now they go they got me. I need to figure out a way out of it. Where Trump goes yeah, I said that.
Yeah.
And they're
And it's also yeah, he said that, but it's the Clintons killed people. Bush did 9/11. Obama bombed, drone striked fucking school. That's the thing we're mad about?
Obama, you said you were listening to War Mode. Obama's been looking real bad in hindsight.
Yeah. It's been weird.
Yeah.
Because,
they were saying how he talks like Biden, too.
Because when I was a kid, I remember listening to Biden, or Obama, and being wow, he's a good speaker. He's real.
It's only because we came off of Bush, where it's
hey, here, yeah, man. I didn't do them their towers.
Yeah,
no, but
missed me.
Yeah, but
missed me again.
But no, yeah, you start hearing all this shit about Obama, and it's damn, you love drone strikes.
Thomas was on his ass.
That's what they were saying. That's when the Democratic Party shifted.
That's how we get Thomas on. Be hey, you want to come run down why Obama was bad? He's give me 48 hours.
48 hours. I'll be there in a minute.
I'll amass a fucking document for you.
No, he needs to get on here. I'm going to call in.
Yeah. No, Thomas is going to be the military correspondent. Nico's going to be the Washington correspondent.
Yes. Nico, how's things in Washington? How's things in liberal Washington?
Liberal Washington.
How's things going over there? Oh, well.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like, I don't know. We'll get to the bottom of that one.
Yeah.
We'll figure out his deal. But yeah, cunty lady just being like, the next president almost just got assassinated.
Yeah.
The last time that happened, or the last time it did happen, it's literally a thing in history that people go, everyone remembers where they were when JFK got assassinated. Like, that's the stature we put that at. Almost same thing happens.
This is ridiculous.
The one thing I just want to mention about this is, he stands up and he says, fight, fight, fight. I don't know. Who the fuck are you?
Yeah, what is happening?
You're some bitch that they put on camera, right? You're not a reporter.
No.
You're not like a journalist.
You're in the back room of the news office.
You're just the stock older white bitch that we can fucking put on TV, and the people that look the same way. We had a boss that were like, well, those were diversity hires, because we want our staff to look like our customers. That's like CNN. It's like, well, we want like a dumb fucking leather-faced bitch to be on TV so that all the fucking people that look like her can go, oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Well, that makes sense.
It's like, that's like a strict teacher vibes.
Yes, literally.
It's like, well, the heated rhetoric. And it's like, maybe we should be worried more about like why there was a guy
with a gun
that they knew about for an hour and no one did anything about it. That's what I'd be heated about, not the heated rhetoric of a guy who just got shot saying, like, what was bad about it? Explain. Like, it's heated rhetoric?
Yeah.
Well, it was a heated moment, was it not?
Yeah.
Like, explain. Talk. Let's talk.
Let's figure it out. You'd love to put someone like that in the hot seat and have him go.
Jordan Peterson obviously fell off the fucking deep end at a certain point,
Far.
but I will stand by that dude's like initial run because that's what all these people that got to just say things and someone be like, yeah,
yes.
He would sit there and be like, what do you mean by that? And they'd be like, well, this is so like you to pretend like you don't understand what I mean. It's like, no, well, let me ask, do you mean this? No.
Okay.
You mean this? No. Like, okay. Well, then please explain your point because I don't understand.
Yeah, because I don't get it.
Yeah.
That's like the one. That's like when that dude on the street asked that one like blue-haired chick. She was like, "What's the one thing that you think you would like to stop in America?" And she's like, "All the trans and hate."
Oh.
And he's like, "Oh, that's terrible. Yeah. What specific hate have you seen or felt?" And she's like, "Well, what do you mean?" He's like, "Well, what hate have you noticed around here, and like
Hate's a strong word.
What has affected you, personally?"
Heated rhetoric.
Yeah, and she's like, she doesn't know what to say, and she just goes, "Well, I think a lot of it I've internalized, so the hate kind of comes from myself at this point, but it's just not right."
That's where like I should walk in from the other direction. It's like, yeah, there's people like us that just hate ourselves. You don't need to fucking like dye your hair and like think there's a cause.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you just not like yourself. Like that's like shit you got to work on. Go take mushroom. I don't know what to tell you. This is
crazy.
Protesting on a belief on a fucking cause that you've convinced yourself you believe.
I have this disorder now because it's crazy. I was listening to Therapy Gecko, and he had some dude on call, and it was like from Norway, and he was like, "Yes, I'm on a leave of absence. I can't work." And the guy's like, "Oh my God, why?" And he's like, "Well, I've been diagnosed with burnout syndrome." And he's like, "What is that?" And he's like, "Well, I've been through like a
thing everyone in this country has."
He's like, "Well, I went through like a rough breakup, and I just kind of have like a little PTSD from that, so I'm not able to work. So I went to the doctor. They diagnosed me with burnout syndrome, and I just really don't have any will or like motivation to do anything." And it's him and Eric Andre like on the thing, and they're like, "Yeah, that's some real Norwegian ass shit you have, man."
Yeah. Like, I'll be honest, brother, I can't resonate with that at all.
No, I feel like that every day of my life.
That's what life is like.
Yeah, bud.
And then at a certain point, you cross over into clinical depression, and then they give you pills.
Yeah. No, they
don't let you take a break from work. They give you pills.
No, he literally goes, "Well, why don't you go out for like a walk and do a hobby or something?" He's like, "Yeah, man. See, the issue with burnout is that like I can't do those things because I'm not like I'm not able to like go out because I don't have like, the motivation.
No,
to
but
do that.
burnout implies that it's relative to one thing. You're burnt out on work. You're burnt out.
I think it's just life he's burnt out on.
I think that's when it becomes like depression, though.
Yeah, well,
I don't know why
they need 15 fucking different things for one thing.
Well, if it was like some bitch here, I would agree with you. But I thought Norway and like those places were more like they just did things by the book a little bit.
I think those are like the highly like socialist like oh, you have this disease, you have this.
No, for sure. Like giving him a break for it is very much like.
yeah.
I just mean like I didn't realize they would make up a word for it.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Because like we make up words here, and then
you got fibro.
Anxiety was like that for like these past years.
Still is, yeah.
Where it's like anxiety used to be one thing, and now it's just like that thing everyone had. Like,
Yeah, you know what blew my mind? I still think about when you said that at work when I was bringing up the Kung Fu Panda line about what he says about the noodles. And it's real prolific. And you go, yeah, someone told me how anxiety is worrying about the future and depression is worrying about the past. That's very nice.
because
You should get that tattooed on your face.
yeah, my knuckles. Stupid. Remember. Yeah, because like you could dress it up in 1,000 different ways, and I'm sure some of those will speak better to individual. But I like that one just because it's so boiled down. It's like, yeah, you could add to it for sure and like make it more specific. But I mean, that is baseline what is happening.
No, exactly.
It's easy to like catch yourself too.
Yeah.
Like you can diagnose something.
it's
quick.
like, oh, I am
Like, oh,
worried.
yeah,
I am worrying about the future.
I was
whatever.
reliving fucking scenes of my
Yeah.
life that
Yeah.
are done
Bad.
and gone with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's interesting. It's fucked up.
That I have a lot easier time with not doing. The anxiety side of like worrying about the future, it's like, well, you need to predict, you need to look into you can't just live.
prepare.
Yeah, like
You can't just live.
the logic side overrides like
yeah.
that shit. So that's the middle ground I'm working for. The depression one,
I-
looking the past, that's easier to be like, stop.
Yeah. Or live in the moment.
Try to live.
Like-
But even the backwards one, it's like, well, I'm going to base things on past experience. Like that's how you fucking live.
History repeats itself.
Yeah.
There'll be
Because then otherwise
there'll
you're
be another
ignorant.
shooting.
You know what I mean? Like if you
Yeah.
just continue to be like, it'll probably work out better this time. It's like
Did
the
it?
same people that have fucked you 4 times over are probably going to fuck you again. And
Yeah.
it's like, well, that'd be living in the past of me. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, it's hard to know where to draw the line at.
Yeah. Episode 101.
I can't believe how quick it went. I got to piss really bad.
Okay. Well, we're done. Hey, we'll see you fuckers next week.